Well, the week is finally here, the week of the first major of 2023, and of course we know it's the Masters. I am not in Augusta, Georgia. However, I know someone who is. I've got two people in front of me right now, actually, who are in Augusta, joining us live. Of course, Steve Elkington, and from Golf Talk America, Frank Bassett, who we're going to be teaming up with this week. Guys, I'm very envious that I'm not there with you, especially because I know you ate at the infamous T-Bone Steakhouse last night.
Yes, we did.
We did a little damage at the T-Bones last night. We really got into the atmosphere.
We did. It was very atmospheric. American Express, by the way, called me this morning and I said, Mr. Bassett, are you in Augusta? Kidding.
He's got trouble written all over it. I said to Elk yesterday, Frank, that knowing you, this is your all-time favorite week of the year. Like, you are thriving and living your best life in Augusta this week.
It is a blast, and being here with you guys, especially you, Diane, we miss you terribly, not having you here watching the shenanigans that go on every evening with hitting balls off of my floor in the living room and things like that. But
I'm a mother now. I can't do that.
I know, you're a mother. You can't do that stuff. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting when you come here, Diane. When we were at T-Bones last night, we were with people this is their 35th, it's their 16th, it's their 8th, it's their 22nd Masters. It's a real pilgrimage to Augusta for a lot of people. Means a lot to a lot of people. I made my pilgrimage down Magnolia Lane today. I got badge number 8. Which means I was the 8th person that registered. Number 1 badge is for the defending champion, Scotty Scheffler.
Right.
But then as you show up, each person shows up and signs in, you're given a number. So mine was lucky number 8, which is the lowest number that I've actually gotten. Sometimes for a few years, I was in the 20s, which means I was the 20th guy that registered.
Yeah.
But this year I'm number 8.
I didn't get a number 8 except the other day when I played golf.
Yeah. That was on
a par 3.
No,
kidding.
Yeah.
I love you saying that, obviously everyone's there. They could be there for their 22nd or their 10th Masters or whatever, because tradition really plays such a huge role this week. And we're going to talk about tradition because we've kind of got the anti-tradition a little bit this week, in that we have the LIV golfers and the PGA Tour golfers and everything that's going with that. And that's kind of like new territory for everyone to navigate this week. But we'll move on to that in a minute, because I want to first hear about your day. I mean, Monday of Masters week. Elk, you were there bright and early this morning. I hope you went to the merchandise tent before it got too busy. It's not even a tent, it's a merchandise building before it got too busy.
I didn't go yet, but Gretchen Zeller, Fuzzy Zeller's daughter, was there, and she did, and she told me everything about it. Gretchen's a pro shopper, of course, but no, I got to the golf course, Diane, and I walked straight away down on the back 9 all the way to the 13th hole. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to look at the new tee. I actually ran into the chairman, Fred Ridley, and actually got to ask him exactly what they were doing on the 13th hole. He said it's back where they feel like it belongs. It's back 58 yards further back. Now it's 321 yards out to that last pine tree. The one, where Mickelson was in there and hit the 5-iron on the green. So way further back. The golf course is wet right now. It's kind of damp. I just left the golf course. It's started to rain a little bit. The weather's really going to be a factor this week. Tomorrow, they're talking about 85 degrees, maybe 90 degrees on Wednesday. And then all of a sudden on Thursday, it flips back to being like 50 degrees with a lot of wind and rain and cooler. So it's going to be an interesting Masters, Diane. The course has had a lot of rain over the last month. It's not wet, but it's definitely not dry. It's not slippery trying to go down the hills, but it's just plain very long right now. So obviously it's in good shape. Tiger Woods was out there playing the front 9 today. Million people following him on that one. I went the other direction. I did go across and look at the par 3 course. It's all been redone. They've widened it out. They've changed the routing. They've built some new cottages. It's all done, of course, in 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is. It's amazing. Looks like it's been there 100 years. Went over to the driving range, ran into Scotty Scheffler's parents, talked to them for quite a while about Scotty, and
great people.
Scotty's wife had a game of golf yesterday at Augusta with her husband.
Wow.
And she made like 5 pars.
She what?
Yeah.
Well, maybe she's in competition this week. One thing I want to ask you, I have not had a chance, guys, to get over there, as you know, yet. We were setting up, getting ready here for the shows. I'll be over in the coming days now. But what was your first impression? I know you talked about it, but did you walk out and stand back in the chute, looking down the fairway? And was it as narrow there as it looks on television and in pictures?
18 or 13?
13, I'm sorry.
No, I couldn't go back there. I'm no longer under the rope, Frank. I'm on this side of the rope with you now. And,
you're one of those.
I'm one of those now. So I went and bought a sandwich and some apples and just stood there and just watched, looked back in that corner. Very narrow, but I don't think it really matters the narrowness because it is, it's a par 5. I mean, they're just hitting, their tee shot, but it's
no longer a 3-wood. It's now a
it's all the way back there. I ran into Travis Vick, who's a member of my club at Champions Golf Club, who's a super long hitter, plays at University of Texas, All-American. He said they played there recently. He hit driver 3-wood, and he's probably as long as Rory McIlroy off the tee. So he said, Mr. Ridley said, the chairman said, we'd like to see guys hitting long irons off that side slope. So, for those who are watching, it goes around the corner, but as you go around the corner, it banks almost like a motorway.
Yeah.
And they want those guys off that side slope with the ball above their feet, hitting a longer iron shot.
45 degrees. I mean,
not that much.
It looks 20. It does. Yeah, it really does.
It's a very difficult shot.
It's going to be exciting now to see them have to hit long irons into there if they're and if it's go time, if they can go with all the danger.
Yeah, I was talking to Hale Owen said, I was hoping when I went around, got into that position, he had a 5-wood in the bag that week. He said, I was hoping that I got to hit the 5-wood and not have to think about hitting a 3 or a 2 iron because off that lie, it's just so precise a shot with the ball above your feet with a long iron going up a hill across. So, yeah, it's where it should be. I mean, the clubs have outgrown that hole and it's perfect now.
Okay, well, what else did you see today? There's been a few good name drops already that I'm picking up on here.
What?
There's only name drops.
I can give you a name drop. We sent someone in because I couldn't be there, and they brought back 2 huge bags of sandwiches for us from the Masters. So I've had my egg salad and my chicken salad already today.
That's
the name drop, egg and chicken.
Okay.
Yeah, the atmosphere is great. I went out to the driving range. Sam Burns was on the range with Scotty Scheffler. Jordan Spieth was way over to the left. He was just grinding with his coach and didn't look too happy about. I was watching the balls because, Augusta driving range is almost like being on a golf course.
Oh, yeah.
Watching the balls track from Jordan, seeing if he was actually hitting it on the green that he was aiming at. And he's not settled right now. I don't think things are settled for Jordan Spieth right now.
It hasn't seemed that way in the last few tournaments watching him.
Sam Burns, however, obviously confident right now, but it looked nice with what he's got going on.
The Jordan thing is going to be a talking point this week because, me, I love a story and this could be total coincidence or it could be a weird twist of fate, but he's won on Easter Sunday the last 2 years. The Valero Texas Open in 21. Last year it was the RBC Heritage on Easter Sunday, and Masters Sunday is going to be Easter. So there's a little bit of voodoo surrounding that right now, but
he's not playing as good as he was as those last 2 spoke of Sundays. It seems his games, kind of like a lot of people's games, weekend player, they'll have some great holes and then all of a sudden he has a blow up. And it seems like he can blow up from 3 feet with a putter, or he can blow up off the tee. Iron game, wedges, never a problem for Spieth, it seems like.
Bunker play, phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, I alluded to it at the top of the show that one of the big talking points this week is going to be the inclusion of the live players. Did you see any of them out and about today? And did you see any interaction? Are we making this into a dramatic storyline that it's really not?
I don't think the drama is between the players. I was just watching on TV here. Bryson DeChambeau talking to Scotty Scheffler. They got Cam Smith on the TV right now talking to all these guys. I don't think the friction is between the players. I think Augusta is going to put them together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see them together.
I think in reverence to this place and this tournament itself and all it stands for, it's only appropriate that everyone is a gentleman out there. And I believe that's really what we're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with the TaylorMade people today about Tiger and how he's playing. And, his swing has changed. Obviously, he's hitting the ball really well. They all said it themselves. It's like almost the club face on Tiger's swing is as good as it's ever been. But his base down below is not as solid. He's playing a lot less loft than he used to. Used to play with almost like I was surprised by this. He used to play with like a 10-degree driver so he could draw the ball all faded. But now, because of his limitations in his right leg, he's gone to a lot less loft, and you see him playing more of a fade shot. That's the chosen shot because he can't. When the loft gets lower, you can't draw it.
It was rumored it was a 7-degree. Is that true?
No, he said it's an 8, just over 8.
Okay.
The TaylorMade rep, the guy who made it for him.
Okay, well, that's not a rumor. That's a fact.
So, he's playing a more of a left to right, Diane, a sort of a hot fade. Can he? We then discussed, what kind of a chance does Tiger Woods have, playing 6 events a year, coming out and playing this week. And he was like, you know what, Elk, if it was year 2000 and he'd had an accident and he was in that kind of form, I'd say he's got a shot. But I'm not saying they don't think he has a shot, but it's a long shot. It's a long shot.
And we know that the weather can really affect him. And Saturday, it's going to be a high of 55. So we know that the weather is going to be, as you say, it's going to take a turn on Thursday. It's going to take an even worse turn by the time it comes to the weekend. Hopefully he makes it to the weekend. I mean, we said this last year that the goal has to be for Tiger to make the cut, first of all. I mean, he thinks that he can go out there and contend and win, but as fans, we want to see him play all 4 days.
Yeah, and I think this year in particular, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this field this week, and there's so many guys, Diane, that are playing well right now, whether it's Scheffler, Rory, Rahm. I saw John Rahm, talked to John Rahm this morning. He looks a little thinner. I mean, he looks fit. He's strong. He's got big legs, Rahm. Have you actually been next to Rahm?
He's lost some weight. I mean, that's a fact. Yeah, he really has. But I think he's working out a lot.
He looks really good. Looks really good. Anyway, Diane, my point is those guys, those 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that have been playing some great golf, they're going to, in my mind, they're going to be set the pace for this event this week. Could there be a Larry Mize, a person that comes from way back or a person that's not heralded win this event? Yes, but it's going to be 300 to 1 person, 250 to 1. This tournament's going to be dominated by these top players, I think, this week.
Interesting point. We're talking about the live players, and right now on the television, we see Dustin Johnson on the range, and he is in his live golf logoed shirt.
They were told no, weren't they? Wasn't that one of the rules that they were told that they weren't supposed to be wearing any live logos?
He has a 4 Aces.
He has the 4 Aces shirt on.
4 Aces shirt on. It doesn't say live. It has 4 Aces.
Yeah.
But
okay.
we know what that is. I mean, it's a winning hand and a good golf team.
You just mentioned, the big names that we're talking about this week, and the big 3 are the same that we've been talking about all year: Scheffler, Rahm, and McIlroy. But we have to add in Dustin Johnson to the conversation, and Cameron Smith.
Smith.
Obviously
you have to put in Patrick Reed.
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka just won in Orlando, and that's him being the only 2-time winner on the Live Tour. He's had some good finishes at the Masters. So all these guys are back in the equation, and we haven't talked about them for a long time. I mean, even Bryson, and I know that he hasn't been in great form. I think Bryson's like 130 to 1 or something this week, but he's been very vocal about his strategy around Augusta National in the past. We've got all these guys to add back into the mix.
Yeah, and I think we have to. I mean, I'm looking on the TV right now. Dustin Johnson, I was talking with the TaylorMade rep. They're very unhappy that Dustin Johnson is not nobody's looking at him anymore. In other words, he's sort of fallen off the planet. They're sad about that because the guy would really anchored that whole company for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
TaylorMade, that is. But Dustin Johnson's talent hasn't gone anywhere. He plays his course really well. He won here when it was in October. No, I think, Diane, as we get into the tour report this week, we're going to talk about a dozen guys, and I think they all have about the same amount of a shot at it, and including the ones that you just already spoke of.
And we have a lot of past champions that are playing this week. You know, Phil's going to be an interesting talking point. Looking at Phil lately, he doesn't look the healthiest. No. I don't know. He doesn't look like there's been a big transformation. I think it looks like stuff's kind of weighing on him a little bit. But when is the last time we watched Phil play? I mean, I personally have not been glued to the live coverage.
I'm excited to see the ratings. I bet they will be through the roof now. So they couldn't ask for a better time to put all these guys back together. The Masters. I predict that it will be at least 20% greater. Really.
Yeah.
The word is they may be putting Phil and Tiger together. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I don't think Tiger's be very thrilled with that pairing, but
probably not.
Probably not. Same with Rory. I think some of my friends today that I talked to that are in the know said that, you know, they like Rory here at the club. They're not going to put him off into a group that may not suit him. Yeah. You know, so. Yeah.
Well, there's a respect element, because you don't want to put these guys in controversial groups for ratings and for talking points. So I saw that there was something going around online that they were going to put Phil and Tiger together, and we talked about this, and I said, wasn't it April Fool's on Saturday?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Or Rory and Patrick Reed.
Yeah.
Going back, yeah. Rory and Patrick Reed, or anyone with Patrick Reed is going to create some friction.
Yes.
And you know, Reed's earned his spot here. He's a past champion. The tricky thing about this golf course, Diane, if we get some rain, if it's already, like I said, it's not really wet, but it's wet and spongy where you're walking under the trees in the pine needles. Oh, by the way, here's an interesting thing. On the 10th hole today, I walked down the right side, and I got down to where Bubba Watson hit that shot from out of the, over there out of the right. And there were some people over there that were trying to determine where it was. So I just kind of walked over there because I know where it is. And there's a little sweet olive tree planted there. It must be where he hit it from. So I went over there. I said, look, guys, it's roughly around here, you know, right here. And there's the window. But as I looked out where he hit that hook, there's 2 40-foot pine trees now.
They made a little adjustment, did they?
There's an adjustment. So Bubba hits it down there again. He's not hitting that shot again. It's blocked out now with 2 40-foot pine trees.
How great would it be to be able to say, I'll have 2 40-foot pine trees tomorrow there, thank you, and be able to pull that off? Well, they can at Augusta National. There's no doubt.
Exactly.
I was pretty shocked when I saw the 2 trees there. It was
right,
awesome.
Well, you had a great first day. As you say, you left a little bit earlier today because there's the rain was starting to fall. But what are you going to do? Well, we're going to do our tour report, obviously, and we're going to talk about the course. We're going to go through all the stats as we always do, and we'll have our picks as well. And then what else are you planning for the rest of the week when you're there?
Well, tomorrow I'm going to go out. My son Sam's in town. We'll walk the front 9 tomorrow, take a look at the course. It's all about the course. I mean, what determines is going to happen this week is going to, obviously revolve everything around the guys that are playing well, but it's going to have a lot to do with the course. As it gets longer and colder and wetter, the longer hitters, are going to have a big advantage this week, just because it is going to get longer and wetter and colder. So I don't think we're going to see a super wet course, but it's just going to play long.
All right, well, we're going to be catching up with you every day live from Augusta, and then, of course, our Tour Report podcast and show is going to be out. And Frank, we're going to be catching up with Golf Talk America all this week as well.
Yes, we will. It'll be fun. It'll be like old times. We've gotten the band back together.